You try to send a WhatsApp voice note to someone outside WhatsApp or play it on your computer, and it just won't open. That's because WhatsApp saves voice notes in a format almost nothing else uses. Here's why, and how to convert them to MP3 that plays anywhere. Let's start with the why, because it explains everything else. When you record a voice note in WhatsApp, it doesn't save it as an MP3 or a WAV or any of the formats you're used to. It saves it as an Opus file. That's Opus. Opus is actually a brilliant audio format. It's open, it's royalty-free, and it compresses voice down to tiny file sizes while keeping it intelligible. That's exactly what WhatsApp wants. Small files that send fast on slow connections. The problem is reach. Opus is common inside apps and on the web, but as a standalone file that you double-click on your computer, it's poorly supported. On Windows, double-clicking an Opus file often does nothing, or pops up an error, or asks you to find an app that can open it. On a Mac, it's hit and miss. On older phones, same story. So you've got this voice note. Maybe it's important, maybe it's sentimental, maybe it's a client describing what they need, and it's trapped in a format you can't easily play, share, or archive outside WhatsApp. The second problem is that even getting the Opus file out of WhatsApp is awkward. WhatsApp doesn't give you a tidy export this one voice note button. The voice notes come bundled inside a chat export zip, renamed to cryptic file names, sitting in a media folder. So the real task is two parts. First, get the voice notes out of WhatsApp, and second, convert them from Opus into a format like MP3 that genuinely plays everywhere, in any media player, on any phone, attached to any email, uploaded to any transcription service. Let me walk through both parts. Part 1. Get the voice notes out of WhatsApp. The way to do this is to export the chat that contains them, with media included. On Android, open the chat, tap the three dots in the top right, tap More, tap Export Chat, and choose Include Media. On iPhone, open the chat, tap the contact name at the top, scroll all the way down, tap Export Chat, and choose Attach Media. Include Media is the critical choice. That's what bundles the actual audio files into the export. Without it, you get the text of the chat but none of the voice notes, which defeats the entire purpose here. WhatsApp prepares a zip file. If the chat has a lot of voice notes, this takes a moment. Be patient. Don't close the app. Then save the zip somewhere you can get to it. Your computer, Google Drive, Files, AirDrop to a Mac, email to yourself. Now, inside that zip is a media folder, and your voice notes are in there as Opus files with names like PTT 202-41115, WA0007.opus. PTT stands for Push to Talk, which is WhatsApp's internal name for voice notes. You could, in theory, dig those Opus files out and try to convert each one with some desktop audio tool. But that's tedious, and most free converters online are sketchy about what they do with your audio. Part 2. The clean way. Instead of wrestling with individual Opus files, drop the whole chat export zip onto chattopdf.app. Now, this tool's main job is turning chats into PDFs, but on the tiers that include voice transcription, it also processes every voice note in the export. It reads each Opus file, and as part of building your document, it handles the audio so you get usable output, both a text transcription of what was said and the voice notes preserved in a form you can actually work with, rather than locked Opus files with cryptic names. So in one upload, every voice note in the chat is dealt with at once. No converting them one by one, no hunting for a trustworthy converter, no command line tools. Here's the upload step concretely. Open chattopdf.app in any browser, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Edge, all fine. Drag the chat export zip directly onto the drop zone on the homepage, or on mobile. Tap the drop zone and use your phone's file picker to find the zip wherever you saved it. The site unzips it, scans the media folder, and finds every voice note inside automatically. You don't have to identify, rename, or extract anything yourself. It recognizes the Opus files by their format and by WhatsApp's PTT naming pattern. It then shows you a preview of the chat with each voice note clearly flagged, so you can see exactly what's about to be processed. A few seconds for a small chat, a minute or two for a chat with 100+ voice notes. And importantly, the original zip on your device stays completely untouched. The site reads a copy and produces brand new output, so your source files are never modified. If something goes wrong, you've always still got the original. Now pick a tier. For voice notes specifically, you want a tier that includes transcription, because that's the feature that unlocks the audio processing. The lower, cheaper tiers focus on text-only chats and won't touch the voice notes. The bigger the tier, the more voice notes it can handle in a single upload, and the longer each individual voice note is allowed to be. So if you've got a chat with hundreds of long voice messages, size up. Pick the tier, pay once, no subscription, no recurring charge, no account to create. Payment goes through standard providers, so Card, Apple Pay, and Google Pay all work depending on your device. Then, while it builds your document, it works through each voice note one at a time, transcribing as it goes. If you only care about the audio content and not the full-styled chat PDF, that's completely fine. The document simply becomes your organized index of every voice note, each with its transcription, its sender, and its timestamp. Honestly, that's usually far more useful than a folder of loose, cryptically named audio files anyway. Here's what you end up with. A document where every voice note appears in the natural flow of the conversation at exactly the right place, with the right sender's name and the original timestamp attached, and right next to each one, the transcribed text of what was actually said in that recording. So the thing you needed from that voice note, the address, the instruction, the quote, the booking detail, is now readable text you can copy, search, highlight, and paste anywhere. No more scrubbing back and forth through audio, trying to find the one sentence you need. No more wrestling with Opus files that simply refuse to open on your laptop. And if you search the document for any phrase from any voice note, it jumps you straight to the exact spot. You can keep this forever, email it, print it, upload it, share it. Every single thing you couldn't do with the original locked Opus files trapped inside WhatsApp. On privacy, your zip is processed on the server, the document and transcriptions are generated, you download everything, and the file is removed shortly after. No training on your audio. No human listening to your voice notes. A couple of common questions. Why not just use a free online Opus to MP3 converter? You can, but you'd convert each file one at a time. You'd still have cryptic file names with no context, and many free converters are unclear about what they keep. Doing it through the chat export keeps the sender, timestamp, and conversation context attached. Does transcription work in my language? Over 50 languages, auto-detected per voice note. What about really old voice notes? As long as they're still in the chat, and you include media on export, they come through. That's why WhatsApp voice notes won't play anywhere else, and how to get them into something that does. Link in the description. Code VOICE25 for 25% off any tier. Next in the series, transcribing a whole year of voice notes at once. Subscribe for new tutorials every Tuesday and Friday.